just wanted to talk about the bigger vision here. And sometimes we forget about the way things were to the present. And there's some people in the audience, and I was talking to Matt Cullen, who, by the way, is the chair of the Riverfront Conservancy, one of the partners. But even before that, a gentleman in the audience, Rodney Stokes, is right here. Rodney was a previous DNR director, but he goes back a ways with the DNR. And three individuals, the then Parks and Rec director for Detroit, Ernest Burkeen, the then director of Wayne County Parks, Hurley Coleman, he's now Reverend Hurley Coleman. We're out on the river in a boat scheming about, wouldn't it be great someday if there was a state park down here in Detroit? And if you can remember, the marina was here, but there was cement plants and cement silos and the typical industrial front door of communities along riverfronts. And so from there, obviously shortly thereafter, the Riverfront Conservancy was formed to transform it with a big vision. And I can remember I came in 2005 after the renovation was done, the first phase of now Milliken State Park, then it was Tricentennial. And I can remember introducing the then Governor Granholm with Stephen Chester, the DEQ director, and we announced, this as I was on the job a month, and we're standing out there, right over there, looking back this way, and the cement silos were there, and we announced the Clean Michigan initiative along with other money to tear the silos down. Shortly thereafter, they were gone. And fast forward, the next phase of the Milliken State Park was developed through a lot of partnerships and grants, and you can see what's there today. Meanwhile, we were partnering with the riverfront, and they were evolving rapidly as well. Sometimes it was hard to keep up, but they had some great support. And the idea was to have a sustainable waterfront into the future, but have lots of partners. So that same day of the silos, I was standing across the street, right over there, and I looked back here. There was some dilapidated things here and some other buildings which are gone now. And we looked at this Globe building, and I said, wouldn't it be cool someday if we could augment this and have some kind of a experiential place for about the out of doors in the city of Detroit. And a couple of my staff looked at me and thought I was a fool. And but as we started to talk, we were, to use the governor's words, we were relentless about this, and we kept moving it and kept talking about it, one thing led to another, and here we are today with the results that through a lot of partnerships and work that you'll hear about. But I did want to, on that, and just say a couple things about partnerships, and I already mentioned Matt Cullen, I mentioned Rodney Stokes. George Jackson, who worked for the Detroit Economic Development Corporation, also shared the vision, and he was very instrumental, along with his staff, to make this happen, along with an accommodating City of Detroit City Council that, of course, had enabled us to do a lease here and also enabled that. So I did want to make sure I didn't look past that. There was a lot of partners in this. It was a true public-private partnership to make this all happen. So I just wanted to lay that as a little bit of a groundwork to get things going here. So what I'd like to do is to call up Director Keith Cray from the DNR, and we have a presentation to make. That's part of the partnership.
Thanks, Ron, and on that being brief. A couple things. I actually have a couple other bosses in the audience. I got Commissioner Vicki Ponce and Commissioner Tim Nichols. Just raise your hand. And certainly the commission does great work, and that's certainly part of what we do day in and day out. And we're really pleased to be part of this. Congratulations, Rodney Stokes. He's really the guy that did the heavy lift on this, and I get to be at the microphone. So thanks, Rodney. So I have Donna Zalewski up here with me with ITC Holdings Group, and it is a public-private partnership. And as we go along, people say, you know, ITC and DNR, how does that go together? Well, really, they're great environmental stewards, and they're great opportunities to connect. And so we connect trails. And so actually, Donna's going to make just a very brief presentation, I think. Donna?
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say that ITC Holdings is very pleased to partner with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and we're pleased to be part of the community that we have our high voltage transmission lines in. So today I want to present a $100,000 check to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. And this will be used for the beautiful Outdoor Adventure Center. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And so that's not the first time that ITC has helped us out. They've actually helped us in 8 state parks, a couple of recreation areas, and as I say, as we're trying to connect communities and trails, many times those transmission lines can be those critical connectors into communities that actually drive regional economy. So, Donna, thank you very much for everything you do.
And there's still opportunities for those of you that would like to invest. So we just want to mention that. So the next person I'd like to do, I mentioned the public-private partnership. One of the key parties was the Roxbury Group, and we have the principals, David DeRita, that was instrumental in helping to put the puzzle parts together with the groups I already mentioned. So David?
Good afternoon, everyone. As Ron and Vicki know, I'm not exactly an outdoorsman. And so it was particularly fun as an East Side kid to grow up, finally create my own fantasy up north here. That's air conditioned, no bugs, and that bear's staying in the den, I can tell you that much. Just want to say a few words, and I apologize for the written words, but I'm committed to maintaining our schedule here. On behalf of Globe Development and its members who are here today, including Stacy Fox, John Ricolta, James Van Dyke, and Vince Totillo, I want to thank you for the opportunity to say a few words about how this amazing project came together. The opening today is a culmination of a nearly 5-year public-private partnership to save this historic structure and repurpose it into this incredible facility. As Ron was saying, in 2010, the Globe building had stood empty for nearly a quarter of a century, and after multiple failed redevelopment attempts, faced near certain demolition. It was then that the DNR began to articulate more clearly this concept for reusing the Globe as a year-round attraction to complement its growing investment in Milliken State Park. The challenge was finding a way to link the DNR's unique vision with an actionable plan for the redevelopment of this building, which was in such an advanced state of disrepair at the time that there were certain areas of the building we were not even able to walk into. To solve this challenge, the DNR, led by Parks and Rec Director Ron Olson and Planning Chief Vicki Anthus, reached out to the Roxbury Group into Walbridge to assess the building and come up with a plan for its financing and redevelopment. The solution we ultimately devised involved our group acquiring the building from the City of Detroit and working with Bob Hoyta's group, Hobbs and Black Architects, designing, costing, and constructing the project to the DNR's specifications, working all along with them to develop those specifications. By providing the DNR the certainty as to precisely what we would deliver and precisely what it would cost them, the DNR was able to secure the funding they needed to acquire the building from us at the end of completion. The end result represents perhaps the best example available in Detroit today of what is possible when the public and private sectors collaborate to achieve community objectives that no one of those parties could have achieved on their own. For this, special thanks must go to the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, in particular Brian Holdwick, who's here today, who worked tirelessly on this project, the Natural Resources Trust Fund, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and Invest Detroit for their creativity and commitment to seeing this through. As the developers, we were honored to have been able to play an important role in saving this irreplaceable piece of our history and transforming it into the one-of-a-kind facility you see in front of you today for the citizens of the City of Detroit and for the state of Michigan. It was a genuine pleasure to be able to forge this partnership with Ron and Vicki and their teams, and we sincerely hope it sets an example for collaborations like this in the future. Thank you very much.
I did want to take a quick moment. Vicki Anthus is right there with a green shirt. Wave your hand. Vicki was very instrumental in this whole ordeal from beginning to end. And Linda Walters, we will meet later somewhere around here. She's the Energizer bunny we hired to connect the dots and has impressed everybody that's walked around with her, and you'll meet her later. And also the rest of the DNR team, a lot of collaborative efforts amongst the folks here that have helped. It was a true team effort. So with that, I'd like to move on to, we have a celebrity here not to say that the people aren't here, but somebody you see on TV, but we actually have a real live person here that's on TV that frequents Detroit and comes out of Minnesota and takes old dilapidated things and makes them look like there's really something after they're done. And I've watched her show, but I've never met her. Nicole Curtis, of HGTV host and a rehab addict, and we'd like to have her come up and say a few words about the rehabilitation of things. So here we go.
Well, now you've met me.
There we go.
Thank you.
Now, I met her. I'm getting
Um,
married.
And those of you who know me, I'm from Detroit, so I just got marooned in Minnesota for a little bit of time. It's such an honor to be here today, and I'm on my tiptoes because I'm very short. But this has been a project that I have been watching for a long time, and any Detroiter knows that the riverfront is one of our most valuable resources, yet one of our most undeveloped areas of the city. And as a runner and a kayaker and a mom, being outdoors is so important to me. And unfortunately, before we started collaborating with all these wonderful partnerships, it really was just an area that wasn't able to be used for such things. So seeing all of this come together, and of course, seeing the lovely use of a building that I heard the word demolition, and if anyone knows anything about me, that sent shivers up my spine and gave me the goosebumps. But this has been such an incredible transformation, and I think all of us can agree here today that it's just one more step in the direction that we've all wanted to see the city go for so many years. And I, for one, have watched this building step by step. I mean, it's just been amazing, and I'm so excited because the thing is that when you can get children involved in outdoor activities, it gets their minds working, and that's really what we need in the city. We need to encourage our youth to get back into it and brainstorming and coming up. They're the problem solution. I mean, they're not the problem solution. They're the solutions to our problems, and they're the ones that have all this, but you have to create the spaces for them to grow. And that's what I'm just so excited to get inside. I won't be playing today because today I'm wearing a dress and I'm usually working and in work clothes. But this has been such a great honor, and I'm excited to see what else we can put together as a city, and excited to see everyone come out today. Being home in Detroit has been a goal of mine for a very long time, and I'm very excited that we have all of these great partnerships going on, and I can't wait to get inside and play, because that's what you get to do. If you're a mom, you still get to play because you say you're watching the kids, but it's something that I'm very excited to be a part of. So thank you so much, and this is just one more step in the right direction, I think, for the city and for all of us Detroiters. Thank you.
Thank you. The theme that you'll see on the write-ups, one of the staff, Linda Walters, came up with the Up North Downtown. And I just one real quick thing is that while it's indoors and it's experiential, we refer to this as a gateway, and it's the beginning, and it's opportunity. And what we want to do is stimulate interest, go outside. Right across here, we have a world-class fishery out in the river, and then go to Belle Isle, and you can find every environment that represents itself in the state of Michigan right on that island. So there's lots of opportunity, and we're working on that with a lot of groups. So with that, I'd like to introduce the famous mayor of Detroit. I don't think he needs much of an introduction, Mike Duggan, who continues to move the city forward.
All right. Well, another good day in Detroit. Let me start by introducing one of my partners in the cause, Councilman Gabe Leland. Gabe, where are you? We still have this unique time that the mayor and the council are working well together to getting things done, and we're enjoying it as long as it lasts. All I can, it is going to last a long time, isn't it, Gabe? Okay. I got to tell you, I want to thank ITC and everybody else who's been involved in this. I've been in this city my whole life, and I think, as anybody around here knows, for much of Detroit's history, the public didn't have access to the waterfront. I mean, the waterfront area developed with factories and cement silos, and for nearly a century, there was very limited ability for any Detroiter to get access to the waterfront. You go to a city like Chicago, and you look at the beautiful way that they have used their waterfront and preserved it for the public, and you were envious. But a number of folks in the Riverfront Conservancy, and I see Matt Cullen here, who was one of the driving forces, said, maybe it's not so far-fetched. And if you could rewind the clock 20 years and see what was along that water, you would have said, how can this be done? But they put the river walk down in front of the Renaissance Center. The state put in Milliken Park. The city is beautiful. Shane Park for the waterfront concerts last year. Mount Elliott Park, which has all the water features, has become a huge attraction. And we are headed toward a city where the public has access to the waterfront from Belle Isle Bridge to the Ambassador Bridge. We're getting there. And today is another major step forward in making the riverfront attractive to the folks from the city of Detroit. And before I forget, I need to make one other point. My friend Nicole Curtis, it is remarkable what she's doing. If you're not familiar with the show, Rehab Addict refers to rehabbing houses. And she, so she approached me about a year or so ago and said, what can I do? And I said, well, we auction 3 houses a day on our website. Go ahead and bid. She went and bid on a house on East Grand Boulevard, 2 blocks from the Belle Isle entrance. She won the bid. If you haven't seen her shows, which are amazing, she did her whole season on the beautiful rehab of that house, and she just did an open house to show the people of the city of Detroit what a rehabbed home in Detroit shows up. And when you and I have an open house, we might have some family and friends. She had 3,000 people come through the house, and so she's become an enormous ambassador for other people who are buying houses. And so we're trying to save the houses in the city. We're trying to save the buildings in this city. And today, you see the best of all worlds, the preservation of an historic building and the opening of yet another major attraction. And so while lots of people had something to do with this, there needs to be a special thanks. When you're an elected official, your staff is doing all kinds of stuff, and you get the blame for the stuff that goes wrong, and you get the credit for the stuff that goes right, and you can't really tell. But I can tell you this, Rick Snyder from day one has loved this project. He has pushed it forward, made sure it came out the way it ought to come out, and so today is the day to say thank you to the governor. And if anybody wants to know about the features, all you have to do is ask him, although you need to leave some time, because he has tested out every single thing inside there and wants to give you the details on each level. But this is the way the state and the city should be working together, and I'm just glad to be here to celebrate it. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you. Well, in a moment here, I'm going to introduce Mike Terrell. He's our Metro District Supervisor for Parks and Recreation. Has become an iconic introducer for the governor, so we have him back for the 3rd time. But while he's walking up here, I just wanted to say we benchmarked this project with all 50 states. I belong to the state park directors in all 50 states. We couldn't find anything that matched the theme of this. So this is one of a kind in the U.S. There are pieces and parts, but this is a collection that's unique and probably could set the standard for outdoor interpretation in the future. And also one thing that in a moment with the governor, one of the big projects right here is part of the beginning of the Iron Bell Trail, which will connect up through the riverfront onto Belle Isle. So it's another iconic gateway, symbolic gateway to the rest of the state. So I didn't want to let the Iron Bell Trail slip by. So with that, Mike, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, we all know that you can't match nothing happening in the D or in Michigan. As he said, I'm Mike Terrell. I'm the district supervisor for Department of Natural Resources right down here in Detroit. There's exciting things happening here in Detroit. DNR is proud to be part of those things and those positive things, sorry. Right across the street, we have Milliken State Park. We do that with partners. We do the Detroit Riverfront with partners. We do Belle Isle with partners. And we do this amazing building behind us with partners. Nothing that we do down here can be done without partners. We want to make sure that every person in every county of this great state knows that these resources belong to them. Whether you're in St. Nicholas or St. Joe, Ironwood or Inkster, or even right here in Detroit, all of Michigan's natural resources belong to you. We are grateful, to have the support and very appreciative of the city of Detroit, the state legislators, the public, and most especially Governor Rick Snyder. It's true that, the governor, he's working hard. He's working with the lawmakers. They're trying to craft the right policies for our resources, but he's also working hard painting. We put him to work on Belle Isle. So, he's not only busting the sweat in Lansing, he's busting the sweat all over the state. So please help me welcome the governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder.
Well, thanks, Mike, for that great introduction. And I do appreciate your introductions. This is the third one, I think. So we're on a roll. Just to give you some idea of what I've done today is actually I did mountain bike riding. I've been on an ATV ride. I've done a snowmobile ride. I've caught a largemouth bass or a smallmouth bass. Had a lot of great experiences. I flew like an eagle. I didn't have a time yet to kayak, but I did all of that in less than a half hour. And I did it in this building right behind us. And that's the kind of quality experience that's so exciting to say we can share this with all the citizens of Michigan, and particularly the kids of Detroit. This is an exciting day. This is another step forward in the comeback of Detroit and the comeback of Michigan. And Michigan cannot be a great state if Detroit is not on the path to being a great city. And that's what this partnership's all about. So I want to thank the partnership with the mayor. He's been an outstanding partner in doing many things together. We do economic development projects together. We're working on M1 together. So many great things, but this is an important quality of life effort that we're doing together. In addition to economics and creating jobs, it's important we have opportunities for people to have fun, to see what may be possible in their life that they may not otherwise had a chance to even know of. And so what does this activity center represent? It represents bringing up North Downtown. I appreciate that phrase created by the DNR, because hopefully it'll give, in particular again, the kids of Detroit an opportunity to see things they may not have ever seen. They may not have been aware that they were even out there. And now they can explore. And I like the term also that this is a gateway. This isn't a final answer, but it's a chance to have an experience then where hopefully they can go see it in person, to get into other parts of Michigan and explore those great experiences, some of which are literally across the street or out on Belle Isle or other parks the city's managing throughout the city. So this is where it's great that we can all work together. And I want to thank my partners in the legislature. We recognized a number of them. I also want to recognize Representative Love, who's here, for all their hard work. I want to recognize the people that made the development possible, the Roxbury Group, Wallbridge, all the great people that helped build the structure, and all the other partners, the sponsors that are supporting it, ITC among them, but many other groups that are underwriting different exhibits and part of this experience. This is something, as I went through my list of things with you, I hope you take the time to go in and see these things yourself. It is absolutely incredible. And then tell your friends and neighbors, and tell different kids, school groups, and other organizations so they can come experience this in person. Because this is the best of the best in some ways, if you think about it. This was a historic building in Detroit that goes back over 100 years. 2 years ago, I stood across the street with Ron and a number of other people, the Roxbury Group people and Wallbridge, and we looked at the structure. And to be open, it was a shell of almost nothing. There was no roof on this place. There were a few walls left and some steel. And to look at it today, it shows that you can make that comeback happen. It shows you can reinvent yourself. And it shows when you look at the activities inside, it's not just about a structure. You can actually make it better than it ever was. That's the future of Detroit. That's the future of Michigan. And we're doing it because we can show we can all work together, partners with the mayor, the city council, and all of us as Michiganders saying, we're on the way up, we're staying on the gas, we're not going to get complacent and content, take anything for granted, we're not going to leave the neighborhoods behind of Detroit, and we're all going to make a success for the future for us and for our children.
Choose